Hi, my name's Louise Crawford. I represent Invest Northern Ireland. It's part of the UK government. It's the economic development agency which promotes investment into Northern Ireland. So we have overseas offices worldwide. I've just come from our California office into our London office, and I'll be covering business services, BPO shared services.
Okay, well, I mean, if you've just been based in Silicon Valley, then I guess you must have been working with a lot of high-tech companies, and there's quite a tradition, I guess, there of them working with India a lot, because there are a lot of Indian entrepreneurs in the valley. So how do you position Northern Ireland then to compete?
Well, that was the thing. Whenever I went out there 3 years ago, we typically targeted American companies, and they either were very used to offshoring or outsourcing to India, or else they had it in their frame of mind. Mm-hmm. So we went along, and in the meantime, we were able to position ourselves, compete against them. But what actually happened was a lot of Indian companies are actually outsourcing and offshoring work to Northern Ireland. Mm-hmm. And it's not just your typical call centre work, it's higher value added jobs like legal processing, finance and accounting. So the big Indian names were HCL, Polaris, First Source. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I read that First Source is actually expanding as well.
Right.
They've gone Belfast, but they're also opening in Derry, aren't they? Yeah.
So they've been able to not only ramp up very quickly, but reinvest. Mm-hmm. And I mean, each of those companies have around 1,000 or 2,000 employees, which is pretty huge whenever you consider the Northern Ireland population to be 1.7 million. So what we found was that Californian companies were dubious about going to India, because if they weren't the big Intel or Dell or NetApp, how were they going to attract the people? Mm. If you were, for example, 3Power and CyberSource were some of the investments that we worked on in California, and what they're able to achieve in Northern Ireland is they're like a big fish in a small pond. Mm. So people are, graduates or employees are highly excited about this big, for them, a big US name coming in. Yeah. So there you have a loyal, productive workforce. Mm-hmm.
It's quite unusual, I guess, to see the Indian companies then relocating and creating centres of excellence, outside of India. Do you see this now as much more of a global services delivery, and it's not necessarily all about stuff being delivered from India?
Right. Well, it's not only about, the typical, the high quality talent, the competitive costs, but also for them, I suppose, in accessing new customers and servicing European, UK clients. Yeah. So it's the whole package, really.
Okay, so we're also thinking about access to markets as well.
Right.
So I guess that that may well be of interest then when, I don't know, say British companies want to work with China, for example. Mm-hmm. Do you think that nowadays people are also thinking much more forward into market access as well as, where do I buy my service from? Right.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, of course there's going to be lower cost regions than us, and we don't deny that, but our approach is that we're in this with you hand in hand. It's a partnership that once a company invests, you have a whole client team assigned to you that then helps you win business, grow bigger and better, because at the end of the day we want the operation to stay in Northern Ireland for as long as possible. Yeah. So we're obviously here to help you grow.
So you think, because effectively what you're doing then is promoting the UK itself as a offshoring or service destination. Yeah. And so does the access to the UK markets, is that something then really attractive you can sell on the international stage?
Yeah. Well, I think it's probably the business climate, cultural affinity. Yeah. Even for UK companies expanding, you're operating under the same laws and regulatory environments.
So you can sell Northern Ireland within the UK, but then also away from the UK, you can sell Northern Ireland as access to the UK as well. So what have you observed then about the NOA Offshoring Day? I mean, today, is it more about gathering information or looking at what other regions are up to or companies are doing?
It's been really good so far, just hearing people's different perspectives. Yeah. And just learning a bit more about the pros and cons of China, India, the Philippines. Yeah. And sort of learning a bit more about forecasts for the future. Yeah, yeah. And where things might go.